10 tips to instantly make you a better player. And if you know all of them, I'll eat this hat. Number 1, open your passive tree, and if you're asking yourself, hey, how much defense would a sturdy metal node give me? This is 80% increased armor from equipped body armor. Now I do have 1570 armor, and I could whip out a calculator and go 1570 times 1.8, which brings it up to 2826, and then kind of try to make a rough estimate at how much armor more it would be. The game already does this for you. Hover over and hold the compare key. On mouse and keyboard, that would be shift. And it tells you directly how much more armor, how much more percentual damage reduction this would be. Getting 15% more is another 2%. Getting 80% more is another 6%. And the same goes for attack speed. What is even 3% attack speed? In this case, it would be another 100 DPS. Dang, pretty good. Number 2, selling useless relics. You're stupid. 2 things here. First, if a relic has only one magic stat, you can simply use an orb of augmentation to add another one. We all know this, right? I didn't at first. Don't feel stupid. Now this led to the best stat in existence, honor resistance. Amazing. But it's only 8%. The other one has bonus sacred water and start of trial, trap steal, reduced damage, key drop rate, useless. You go to your reforge bench, put in all 3 of them and reforge them into a new one, which could then be something amazing. Trap steal 8% reduced damage, and it might be turning into another honor resistance one. And I have way more of these, which are all useless. So instead of just throwing them away, try to upcycle them into something that could be tremendous. Jewels, you often find them in blue quality. And you're probably like, 16% increased minion accuracy rating? That's kind of shit. Or the 9% increased armor break. Not too interesting yet, but you can just craft them up like everything else. Adding more magic stats to it, well, that's knockback distance and critical damage bonus. Then we can regal orb them to make them rare and add with the exalted orb another stat. Now this one is obviously completely, I hate this one. And I just wasted the materials. And before you ask, yes, a chaos orb also would work in this to flip one of the stats around. Keep in mind that chaos orbs flip a random one. So it could be one of the suffixes, it could be one of the prefixes. There's no guarantee which one it's going to be. And since we're talking about upgrading, how about gem cutter prisms, which improve the quality of your skill gem? Which skill gem are you actually going to choose? Is it worth it to put it on Herald of Ash? Even overwhelming presence? Maybe the oil grenade? Simple. Hold your Alt key when you're hovering there. It's the inspect key again. I don't know what that's for console. And it will show you what an upgrade would do. Enemies in your presence have 5% reduced elemental ailment threshold. Enemies in your presence have 5% reduced stun threshold. Okay, the Herald of Ash does a bit more ignite damage on overkill. My oil grenade has increased cooldown recovery rate. That's useless for the oil grenade. When it comes to the explosive grenade though, I upgraded it to plus 20% right now, which gives a 20% cooldown recovery rate, which has me continuously forever just spam out explosive grenades. And since I'm playing attrition, you have culling strike against rare and unique enemies that have been in your presence. We already have this with 33 seconds. Well, we could reduce this by another 5 seconds for upgrading the skill. Some of these are gonna go bonkers with the gem cutter prisms, and some are just eh. And if you need more prisms or anything, go to the currency exchange, select I would like to have gem cutter prisms, and then select what you have for trade. I could get 5 gem cutter prisms for 11 exalted. Place the order, have it finish, upgrade your gem, GG. And I hate having to make this part of the video, but it's so stupid that it's often overlooked. Maps come often out as white. They can also be magic or even rare. These maps and also precursor tablets, they can also be turned into magic items. And not only into magic items, you can turn them into rare items as well, to just make those maps go crazy, make every map be more valuable. I mean, this is now magic pack size increase. Monsters have critical hit chance, okay. Monsters have critical hit damage bonus, but waste don't drop chance plus 100%. And the precursor tablet irradiates now maps in range, and they have more essence and 11% increased rare monsters on your maps. Thank you. Never ever put a white map in your goddamn map device. Always increase their rarity. Not all the way to rare, but at least magic. Now let's talk about armor and evasion. Armor falls highly off in late game, especially a great increase in armor doesn't really do much for you anymore. There is diminishing returns. Right now, 200 more armor is only 2% more. After 50%, it quite gets annoying. Whereas in comparison, my evasion is at 34%, but I only have 1,500 evasion while I have 5,000 armor. And most of my evasion rating is right now for my gloves. Look at this. I'm at 12% evasion with 800. But with those gloves, I'm getting another 22%. It is easier, especially in your campaign playthrough, to mix and match evasion and armor for a merc, warrior, monk, instead of just focusing on one. Even if I had another 128 armor now instead of the evasion, I would get 1% more armor, but I would lose, well, 22% evasion. Especially for my merc, this has turned out to be a super survival tip. I'm running around with 40-40 from Act 1 to Act 3 Cruel, and I haven't died much. This is my least died character so far. Thank you. Now I've leveled 4 characters already up to level 70 and beyond, and my Witch Hunter, my merc, has only taken 10 hours from 1 to level 62. Incredible. How do you get damage? How do you not get stuck? And there's a simple tip for that. Sure, you will have to find a good weapon, a bow or a crossbow, but that's not the only source of early damage you can get yourself. My monk, for example, has been using this amulet, +1 to all melee skills. That's straight up a damage boost. And the same went for my mage. Got +1 to all spell skills on an offhand and on an amulet. I kept these until level 40 because having one more to your skills is straight up an increase in your damage. And the same goes for rings and a good pair of gloves. If you are some kind of melee physical damage character, having an iron ring, this is a level 4 iron ring, and this is a level 9 iron ring, and it already adds 1 to 4 physical damage and 1 to 3 fire damage. It doesn't sound like a lot, but even for me at this very point, I could go from 2,500 damage up to 2,594, or with the other ring to 2,652, because of the increase in fire damage as well. And these 2 rings I've been wearing until level 40 from level 4 and 9 onwards. And 1 to 4 damage in the beginning, as you're doing 10, 15, 20 damage, is quite significant. And as soon as you start adding multipliers over your skill gems, well, that 1 to 4 is not 1 to 4 anymore, it's more. Alone, these gloves with 7 to 19 physical damage add another 200 damage to my skills. Pair this together with the ring that also adds another 200, and I'm already getting 400 more damage just with these 2 tools. Now my favorite one. You do see my explosive grenade having 1, 2, 3 gem slots, but I'm not having a 4th. And in order to get a 4th, I'd have to go to the currency exchange and maybe try to get myself a greater jeweler's orb, which are quite expensive. I mean, I'd have to spend 36 exalteds. I'm not going to do that. If you want that 4th slot very early, what you're going to do is you're going to grab yourself a bunch of tier 15 skill gems or whatever level you're at right now. Pull out your favorite explosive grenade. Then I'm going to get the explosive grenade skill again and again and again and a 4th time. These are all now only 2 sockets. In order to make them 3 sockets, you can get yourself lesser jeweler's orb. The good thing is that the lesser jeweler orbs are extremely cheap. I could get 16 for 1 exalted. So that's nothing. I'll have tons. Now I'm going to make all of these 3 sockets. Great. There are 3 sockets already. And with a Val orb that corrupts an item, 2 things can happen here. You can get a bonus skill level. It could just go down by 1 socket, or it could go up by 1 socket. That is now +1 level from corruption. Great, not bad, and you can still level up the gem. Cannot increase the quality anymore though. That went down 1 level, terrible. That one also 1 more level, and that one 1 more level. But what could happen is that you get a 4th socket, just like that, through corrupting it. And the only problem being that you couldn't increase the quality anymore. But you would get your 4th socket, which in my case would lead to another 25% bonus damage multiplier as I was looking to play Elemental Armament. Are you running out of Artificer's Orbs? Well, I am, consistently. And in order to have more of them, you can go to the vendor and obviously buy yourself socket items to then break down at the salvage bench, getting yourself the Artificer Shards. Now the thing is that if you buy items at this lady in the endgame, it's quite expensive. What you could do is you could just travel back to Act 3 normal and check with the vendors there because they'll be always cheaper than the lads in the end game. This one here for 3,000 Warriors Explorers armor will cost me in the end game something like 5,000, 6,000, 7,000. Yeah, I got a cheap deal here that I can then straight away turn into my shards. Don't waste your money. Save money by spending more, less. Boy mouth. Thank you. How's it looking, ladies and gentlemen? Do I have to eat the hat or not? I hope I got away lucky and these tips could help you. If you have more, share them in the comments below. And if you're now looking for a mercenary build to merc them all, absolute grenade fiesta, enjoy, or rather, the sorceress that goes completely bonkers. Have a good time. Take care.